Have you ever wanted to play a game that's just dripping with passion? Are you sick and tired of the random crap you get on the ROBLOX platform?
Oh my, I've been nutted on.
Defend the Train, or DTT, is a team-based multiplayer game in which up to 10 players cooperate to defend the train from incoming enemies trying to destroy it. The original game and its concept were created in 2011 by a user named Gombob before Bandit Top Hat Games, led by a user named Redmint8, developed the remake with their own ideas and concept. It's so freaking good.
Damn! That shit good!
DTT is one of those rare instances where a game that feels built for popularity and is positively dripping with so much passion and competence that it ends up getting the short end of a stick, straddling the lines of lower player count that would make Payday 3 Steam statistics blush. No hate to Payday 3, I actually like that game. This is one of those games that are truly deserving of more love from the wider Roblox community, but unfortunately, this is one of those games that you also have to wait to get recommended to you, or you just have to search for it. But why do I like this game so much? Why do I think it's one of the best Roblox games that the platform has to offer? What's it's got to go against other similar games like Edward the Man-Eating Train? Let's dive into DTT and see how the gameplay goes and how it holds up. DTT is a very basic game. You're given 3 classes to play with specialized roles. First, there's the Gunslinger, who uses ranged guns to take out enemies and deal less damage to vehicles. Then there's the Psycho, who uses shotguns and heavy weapons to take out vehicles but deal less damage to enemies. And finally, Medics, who use healing items to keep the team alive and a whole array of optional support items. Medics do have weapons that lets them deal damage, but again, they're meant for healing, not dishing out damage. As a preface, for DTT lore reasons, you work for a criminal organization called Dubious Task Taking, aka DTT. Okay, their initials are the same as the game's name. Who specializes in smuggling and brokering deals between other organizations. They mostly hire contractors to defend their trains, since that's the preferred method of transportation, because God forbid they just use a fucking car or a helicopter to transport their fragile shit. At the start, you can vote game type, and depending on which game type is selected, you can then vote your train card type, game mode, and difficulty. The game mode, not to be confused with game type that you can vote, will radically change the way the current match will play. You can only select 3 game modes. One of them will always be the standard version, which the game will play as normal, while the other 2 will have some sort of gimmick like Permanent Death, Classic Mode, which changes the game to match Gombob's 2011 version, Special Mania, where a special wave will always activate, more on that later, or Pressure, no relation to the game. There are 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and hard. They're pretty self-explanatory. Game types are split into Endless and Campaign. Endless, as the name suggests, has no end. You can choose your train card here, which determines the train's own gimmick, like more train health, passenger provides train upgrade discounts, speed increase, or just a regular train card in case you want a vanilla experience without all the pain that comes with gimmicky trains. Campaign is basically a short story mode type deal, where you're put into a different scenario and have very specific objectives in mind accompanying a pre-selected train card type. You can't vote for what train type you want, since the campaign mode predetermines pretty much everything, but you can vote between 2 campaigns, Forest and Ghost Town. Also in the Forest campaign, Vanessa kills a child.
Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss.
When it comes down to actual gameplay beyond voting, game types, and game modes, it's pretty simple. During waves, you stand on the train and defend it. That's pretty obvious. Each wave, on Endless mode at least, features a different map, which also has different enemies depending on the map type. You have to stop them from destroying the train or to protect some sort of objective from getting destroyed by the enemy, such as cargo or passengers in campaign mode. There are many varieties of enemies, but the most important thing you should know is that enemies drive into the map in vehicles, which has their own blue health bar to distinguish them from regular green health bars. Killing enemies will end the threat usually, but if you kill the driver of a vehicle, then every enemy who's riding alongside them will instantly explode. How long each wave will take is indicated by a bar at the bottom, and hovering your mouse over the train card shows how much health each card has left and shows how much damage each card has taken. The more damage a train card gets, the more red it becomes. A card that's about to be destroyed will be highlighted in bright red, with a huge ass warning sign telling you to get the fuck off before it blows you up. When the card is destroyed, if any card behind it are connected to it, those connecting cards will also be destroyed. This is why people will tell you to hang at the back of the train. Occasionally, you get a special wave which adds a modifier to the current wave you're on. Between waves, you have an intermission that lets you rest and upgrade to prepare for future rounds. The upgrades, some of which are permanent weapon-based upgrades or temporary train boosting upgrades, cost EXP. This isn't the traditional EXP leveling system that you see in games, which is delegated to something called credits, which I'll elaborate on later. EXP is gained by killing enemies, destroying vehicles, or healing other players. Since EXP is earned depending on how much damage you do or how much health you have, there's an off chance you get screwed over from lag or not doing your job properly, but if it's the latter, skill issue. While weapon-based upgrades are obvious in what they do, train upgrades are sometimes more diversified and, as much as I hate to say it, temporary. The most important train upgrades is extra coal and steel coating, which boosts the defense and speed of the train, allowing waves to end faster and making the train take less damage. If you want to get a new weapon or equipment that isn't the 3 classes default weapons, which is the assault rifle, shotgun, and healing ray gun respectively, you can buy new things from the cosmetic store, run by a guy named the Cosmetic Guy. Very creative name, I know.
My potions are too strong for you, traveler.
The cosmetic store's name is a bit misleading given that he sells more than just cosmetics like weapons, skins for both weapons, characters, emotes, and stickers. If you want to afford these weapons, you can beat each wave, which earns you a certain amount of cash. Some weapons might have a unique gimmick or a huge stat difference, so choosing your weapon carefully is highly encouraged if you don't want to be an utterly useless moron like my average Guts and Black Powder teammate. Keep in mind, while these weapons do cost cash to buy, you can just unlock them by reaching a certain level. In the game, there's also something called Reputation, which also comes with a neat title such as Intern, Mercenary's Finest, and finally Dubious Task Taker, which is the max level. Each reputation takes credits, which is the more traditional EXP system from the other games. Not everything can be unlocked from the cosmetic store. Some weapons, such as exclusive skins or weapons, are either items that can only be attained during special seasonal events such as Summer 2024 or Halloween 2024, or something you have to unlock by beating the Forest and Ghost campaigns or surviving a boss fight. Speaking more on player customization, this isn't exclusive to just characters and weapon skins. You can unlock a whole array of other silly items like emotes and stickers. This way you can do the most unserious shit ever by making a very grumpy old man do caramel dancing. Aside from DTT's gameplay variety and the absolutely gigantic loadout of player customization options, there's also the really well-composed soundtrack contributed by various members of DTT's community and its development team. Majority of the songs you hear plays during specific situations and are completely original, which makes DTT all the more unique. Also get the chance to listen to remixes or covers of existing songs, memes or other pop culture references whenever you do emotes. Just in case you want more evidence that just shows how full of passion DTT has, there's an optional book you can find in the lobby's AFK room consisting of a gallery, sound test, and encyclopedia. The gallery consists of developer concept art depicting the game's character in various situations, or as the game development goes, conceptualizing what the characters look like and act like and what they do. The sound test does exactly what it does, it tests sounds, but the encyclopedia is special as it's basically the entirety of DTT's lore, or most of it, smushed into one book. Maybe not the entire lore, since there isn't a fully documented page showcasing lore in DTT a la Centauro or Airship Assault, but it gives information on the game's factions and characters. There's also the existence of these strange ad banners in the train stations you see when playing on Endless. These ad banners are all community created content as part of a probably monthly or seasonal event where fans can submit their own advertisements, quote unquote, to be showcased in the game. These advertisements are usually stuffed full of references and in-community memes, which just goes to show the love the community and development team has for the game. With all that being said, let's see what makes DTT tick compared to most other Roblox games. I know I've already stated how much I love this game to the point of basically repeating it ad infinitum since the start of this video, but trust me, this game is just really good. DTT is what I can surmise as a product of true dedication, both in gameplay design and artistic choices, mixed in with the fact that they're getting screwed over by the unfair climate of the Roblox platform. If there exists a sort of algorithm when it comes to the Roblox platform, then DTT isn't getting enough love from the Roblox audience despite how many visits the game has received, only gaining a very small amount of players daily. I've heard from somewhere, and I have no idea if this is true, but apparently Redmint 8 doesn't want to advertise the game just yet since it hasn't technically finished development or at least exit the beta stage, so advertising on Roblox is pretty terrible as well and expensive to maintain, so Defend the Train is sort of a word of mouth game right now. It doesn't deserve this fate, so in my eyes, it's truly an underrated and underappreciated gem. But talking about what I think about the gameplay instead of endlessly writing it, DTT's development team did an impossibly impressive job with balancing the game in so many aspects while still having the time to stylize the game in such a unique way. Of course, there are still problems with DTT, but for its genre, it trumps over the other contemporaries like Edward the Man-Eating Train, and its positives outweighs a lot of the bad parts. I'll be covering the following things: class balancing, enemy balancing, stylization, music, and campaign mode. Starting with the first positive, DTT doesn't do a lot of hand-holding even though there is a tutorial system, but even without the hand-holding and absolutely inane amount of yellow paint that covers a lot of video game cliffs and boxes, the game is very easy to get into. The three classes are all very basic and serves their intended role almost perfectly, and when I first got into the game a couple years ago, I understood almost instantly which I should target as which class and what card I should be on that prioritizes game longevity. What the fuck? Of course, not everyone is going to like new players, especially in public lobbies full of players trying to take the game more seriously on difficult matches, but at least in my experience, new players understood the importance of who to target and how to stay on the last card. When it comes down to class balancing, all three classes, while not having the best synergy, unlike Airship Assault, don't have any significant advantages over each other. They do have a whole arsenal of weapons they can swap out in the cosmetic store, but there's no weapon in the whole game that makes one class more powerful than the other, like dealing more damage, so no matter the gun, there's no way for a single class, either be it Gunslinger or Psycho, to be able to one-up each other in terms of damage. Really, by the time you reach a pretty high-end wave, let's say wave 6, and you've been playing since the very beginning of the match, you and everyone else are likely swimming in enough EXP and upgrade to the point of possibly being a Metal Gear reference. Enemy balancing is also something I really liked, for the endless game mode at least. The diversity of the enemy types, especially on the game type I just mentioned, really throws you in for a unique mix-up that keeps you on edge for any unexpected dangers. Some enemy types are exclusive to certain maps, so while it might be inconvenient for some classes, like being Psycho or Gunslinger biased, it's not entirely a bad thing since it's still very much manageable. It's a whole other story when it comes to differences in easy, normal, and hard mode, where you can get pretty overwhelmed since you also have to prioritize the health of your train cards and your own survivability. Special thanks to the people who main medics, you basically carry home matches where people are likely to get killed, but even then, if you have the EXP to upgrade yourself while also being able to afford the temporary train boosting upgrades, then you're pretty much good to go. Anyways, wanna hear me gush about DTT's style and music again? DTT's art style is just brimming with personality. It might be a little hard to tell since this is a Roblox game and pretty much everyone is a blocky ass character, but the game has a massive array of unique artwork made for various things like character portraits and the faces on your character skins. Yeah, the game uses custom faces, did you know that? Personally, I think these faces could be sold as UGC since compared to the endless anime slop and stolen assets on the Roblox marketplace right now, DTT having UGC faces or basically any merchandise would be great, in my opinion at least. Anyways, the encyclopedia that I mentioned earlier just solidifies the amount of work put into turning these characters into reality, both in the gallery and the stories written for them. Speaking of the character skins, you can easily tell, for the most part, that these characters were designed to be as distinct as possible, aside from the idle animations that drop subtle hints as to which class they are. For default skins, you can easily tell who's Gunslinger, Psycho, and Medic. This doesn't really work as well where you use a custom skin since it might be hard to figure out whether this character is a Gunslinger or a Psycho. It's a Psycho. The emotes are a little sillier than DTT's already comedic nature, but I like them because I think it fits the game's personality and it also creates this really funny disconnect between a character skin and the emote, since you can have the most serious looking mercenary who've seen countless action while working for DTT reference a meme from 2010. Moving on, the music is really good. The fact that music was even created for some emotes and very specific scenarios such as winning or losing against bosses, which they have their own themes as well, was something that surprised me, since you'd usually just have a regular objective complete sound in most other games, but not in DTT, where music plays even when you're buying cosmetics or upgrades. Also, just a quick thing, the Bandit Enforcer boss, or Wendy for the Ghost Town campaign, sounds like this one German satire song about East Germany, yeah. Okay, enough about DTT rights. Let's talk about DTT wrongs. While the game is undoubtedly pretty hard, there's something more specific that I want to dive into first. Earlier, I talked about how good the class balancing was. The thing is though, I can't really say the same for their weapons. Some weapons are better than the default ones and are essentially overglorified direct upgrades, while the others are either mediocre side grades or just straight up garbage. Don't get me wrong, almost every weapon has a time and place that can be effectively used, which is good, but that just makes them situational and maybe terrible. That depends on whether you like it or not. Some weapons that I do consider good might be actually bad if you're only at wave 1, like the Psycho's Roadside Rampage, which would be good, but at the start it's not really good unless you upgrade it. To explain this example, this gun has a boost meter from 0 to 100%, which increases the more damage you deal to vehicles. The boost meter increases how fast you fire and reload, which is a beast in late game waves. The problem is though, you need to deal damage to increase the boost, and the boost meter will decrease when you're not actively dealing damage, and there's an upgrade to slow down the drain rate. This gun without the drain rate upgrade is basically the most useless piece of shit during the first 4 waves, because like you're losing as much boost as much as you're dealing damage, which is just fucking bullshit. So unless you're able to scrounge up enough EXP to make the roadside good late game, good luck. Good fucking luck. Speaking of another Psycho weapon, if you want an example of a gun that's just purely garbage, then you have to thank Borrowed Technology, a minigun that gives off the impression of being very good, but the moment you buy it and actually use it, you quickly find out it's literally the worst weapon in the entire fucking game. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. The Gunslinger's worst weapon is a Peacekeeper or Peacemaker revolver that's allocated to the secondary slot. That's a secondary. The Psycho's useless ass minigun is a fucking primary weapon that you cannot reload, slows you down, disables jumping, deals piss poor damage, cuts your EXP gain, and deals even less damage against boss vehicles. There is literally no fucking point in using Borrowed Technology, and anyone who tries to say they like it because it's a minigun are delusional, who probably spent all their hard-earned cash on a useless gun and are actively trying to gaslight themselves into thinking it's good to compensate for the fact that they just wasted money on it.
It cost $400,000.
Anyways, while I did praise the enemy variety earlier, it doesn't really compensate for the amount of shit the game sometimes decides to throw at you for no reason at all. Like, imagine trying to enjoy the game even on the easiest difficulty, then suddenly the entire US National Guard comes along to fuck you up. Enemy spam is just a bad problem in DTT. I'm sorry, as much as I love this game and make it just annoyingly obvious, I can't stand it when they just shit out 10 enemies of the same kind, or maybe various kinds of like different enemies, but like they just flood the map all at once and it overwhelms you. Even on a full server, the moment you and your team gets overwhelmed, the chances of losing that game skyrockets tenfold. This is especially bad on the Ghost Town campaign, where there's a very specific enemy and vehicle type where they can come in vans, and since the objective of that campaign is to defend cargo from being stolen, these enemies' whole role is to steal the cargo. Guess how many vans they can send out. Speaking of campaign mode, campaign mode is simultaneously the most fun DDT has to offer and also the fastest way to be diagnosed with depression. Campaign mode is not necessarily a bad thing. I like it, but only when I'm winning. Campaign does do a lot of lore weaving in the DTT verse with what little lore the game has, so it's nice seeing how some of the factions as outlined in the DTT encyclopedia interact with each other. It's pretty nice, plus there's campaign exclusive intermission lobbies that adds to the detail of the game, all of their own secrets as well, such as an exploding bathroom. Aside from dumb Easter eggs, it's a decent challenge most of the time, with campaign exclusive rewards for winning them, which are also difficulty dependent, being some pretty nice skins, emotes, weapons, or stickers. Campaign mode is on an entirely different goddamn planet when it comes to difficulty. It's genuinely the most agonizing experience ever. I've had so little fun playing campaign mode on public and private lobbies. The only time that I ever did enjoy a campaign mode was when the lobby was full of competent people, or maybe they were winning, which is an immensely rare occurrence since these are mostly public lobbies, so you'd have to organize a private game with players who have played the game hopefully longer than you ever have to carry you to victory. I hate this shit. I'm eternally thankful to the people who helped me win against Bandit Queen on campaign hard mode, because good god, Wendy, or the Enforcer, is probably the pure fucking definition of bad game design. Yeah, I praised the game design earlier on, but Ghost Town just makes DDT's problems rear their ugly fucking heads. Remember how Psychos have to go for vehicles and deal less damage against normal enemies? Well, the Bandit Enforcer boss that you encounter halfway through the campaign, aka Wendy, is the prime example of how you can completely make a class useless for no rhyme or reason. Unlike most matches, Wendy has to be fought in one of the intermission maps. Most of the time, even on easy mode, she will beat your ass. Hard. Normally this boss wouldn't be too bad if you have a team full of gunslingers, but then you notice that she's treated as a normal enemy. Guess what happens to Psycho? Oh yeah, they become like, oh no, borderline fucking useless. Have fun. I've seen people say, oh, Wendy isn't a bad boss, you're just terrible, or dude, just use the baton melee weapon that you can buy. And newsflash, the baton deals like jack fucking shit damage compared to a gunslinger's primary weapon, and well, how about the medics? What the fuck are they supposed to do? Oh yeah, they can only heal. Their secondaries deal pitiful damage as well, so the only hope they can have to winning this is by constantly healing the gunslingers, and even then, they might get overwhelmed and can't heal everyone all at once. Plus, when it comes to the baton, you have to get within breathing distance of Wendy to deal damage with the baton since it's a melee, and guess who can do fucking melee attacks? Fuck off! I fucking hate Ghost Town campaign! Oh, okay, being honest, most of my issues with campaign mode stems from Ghost Town. Forest campaign is infinitely more bearable since the mid-game boss are a trio of forest rangers who are really funny and comparatively easier to deal with. Mostly because Psychos can actually do shit and the ranger trio doesn't try to gank you at the intermission lobby. And also you get to kill Freddy Fazbear. Also, Senior and Junior are objectively better balanced bosses compared to the Bandit Queen. She just shits out Molotov bombs like there's no tomorrow, while Senior and Junior's most threatening attack is a railgun and also a harpoon. Also, Senior's special alternative skin is literally Homer Simpson. The game also has special Homer Simpson jump scare commands. I don't know why I felt like bringing that up, but it's exclusive to the VIP servers and I think it's really funny. Defend the Train is one of the most underrated games on the Roblox platform. The developer and the community shower the game in such an unprecedented level of dedication and passion, and it's reflected in the way the game is balanced and stylized, showcasing a whole array of unique weapons and character customization options. The game, for the most part, is quite easy to get into, and while it does get a bit difficult the more you play, once you familiarize yourself with the strategies and mechanics of the game, DDT becomes an incredible experience that not a lot of other Roblox games can hold a match to. The biggest problem DDT has though is some specific balancing issues when it comes to enemy spawn rate and the weapon balancing. Not every weapon are created equal, with some being truly garbage that you just waste money on, or the enemies just getting spammed for no reason. This is especially bad on campaign mode, which I'm more neutral about, where it ends up being a mixed bag of certain classes getting screwed over because not designed for a specific boss, Wendy, or players get overwhelmed by specific enemy types who are designed to go after the campaign's objectives. Overall, Defend the Train truly deserves more. It's been ignored by much of the wider Roblox audience, but hopefully in due time, the game reaches more people as developers and community continue supporting the game. Wow, this video definitely took a lot longer than I expected. That outro was something I've had in my files since May of this year, which is crazy because I've been planning on making a Defend the Train video ever since my helmet one. But I put it in the back burner in the hopes that I would get popular first, then expose the game to a wider audience so the game would get more players than before. Anyways, I'd figured I'd make a proper outro this time instead of leaving it to a montage. I put a stupid amount of effort into that outro, but if any of you guys want me to do a full-length version of the outro, as in the whole kickback cover, since I cut it down by around maybe 50%, I'll do it if there's a high enough demand. Regardless, please play Defend the Train. The developers deserve all the support they can get. If you want to support me, you can click the like on the video if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want more. This has been BetaSalvation, and thanks for watching.